Hi, I'm Gina Villiotti Madison of Nash Knowledge, and we're here at CORE, the Center for Organ Recovery and Education. And I'm here today with TJ Roser. He is the funeral director and the coroner liaison for CORE. TJ, welcome. Thanks for having us here today.
Thanks for having me here.
Yes, thank you. All right. So TJ, you are CORE's funeral director and coroner liaison. Can you just tell us what you do in your role?
Sure. So a lot of my role consists of educating our key partners, those being the coroners, funeral homes, and medical examiners. Coroners, medical examiners, kind of the same thing, just depending upon county, put it to you that way. So a lot of it is education on the process of donation, so that they are comfortable with what we are doing, but also with our coroners and medical examiners also allowing for processes and procedures so that they can accomplish what they need to accomplish as far as investigating deaths, determining cause of manner of death. And the funeral home side of it is more for them to also better serve the family of individuals that have donated and have gone through the donation process with us.
Can you share with us some misconceptions that are out there and how you handle those?
Sure. So misconceptions, there's still a misconception, especially in the funeral industry, funeral world, with some of our families, is that if they're a donor, they might not be able to have the funeral services they want, including an open casket viewing. We have, there's many of people that have been donors. There's nothing that precludes that individual from having an open casket viewing. Funeral directors are trained in that, in an individual that is an organ donor that comes back to their funeral home. They're trained to handle those situations, just as they are with any other kind of, trauma or anything else that they may face. So that's one of the big things, but you definitely can have an open casket viewing if you are a donor. We work with the mortuary school too. We have a very good partnership with that school, and it allows us to educate the individuals that are just getting into the field rather than being into the field and maybe, let's just say, picking up some bad habits or whatever they may be, or bad experiences, and educating them on what our real process is and how that plays out. On the coroner side of it, on the medical examiner side of it, the biggest thing is some of the challenges that we face are not all of our coroners, not all of our medical examiners see a homicide every day. A lot of individuals that are able to be donors, unfortunately pass away because of the results of maybe a homicide or something like that. So the biggest thing for them is educating them on how we can carry out our process, but how they can also carry out their process and make sure that goes through. They can determine cause, manner of death of an individual and still be able to prosecute somebody, because the last thing we want is, for somebody to get away with a murder. And it's well known. There's actually never been a case documented where organ donation has impeded upon a prosecution. It's actually the opposite, where it helps the prosecution because we're able to give up a lot more information to the coroners, to the medical examiners that they may not have previously.
Organ donation really is so important, and there's so many misconceptions out there. I'm sure it's really important for you to develop strong partnerships. So can you talk about some of the work you do in that area?
Yeah, absolutely. Our partnerships very, very much are very important to what we do. And through those partnerships, we have to educate. The biggest thing is education. You still have to provide education to individuals that have been in, like myself. I learn something new every day as far as donation goes, just because there's so many things. So we do have a lot of partnerships. We are very fortunate that we have state partnerships. So partnerships with the Funeral Directors Association of the state, Pennsylvania, West Virginia. Also partnerships with the State Coroners Association. So all those individuals we're in front of, we're able to talk to them, we're able to give them the education that they need. As well as, like I mentioned also previously, the students at the mortuary school, the Pittsburgh Institute of Mortuary Science. We're very fortunate that we have a mortuary school in our backyard. That's kind of one of the things that a lot of people don't have, but we take full advantage of that being there, and take every opportunity we can to educate the students that are there, so that we can form those partnerships, those friendships, those relationships later on as well.
No, that's so great. My dad is actually an organ recipient. He had a liver transplant, and my mom volunteers with CORE, and I know she talks so much about just in the general public, there's so many misconceptions and getting out there, but I never thought about the, corporate side of it, if you will, or just like with organizations and the individuals within those organizations. So that's really great, that work you're doing.
Absolutely. Thank you.
He's gonna play out for us. No, I know. He's gonna pull these outtakes too. I was just like staring at each other laughing. Yeah.
No, they're coming sooner.
Right.
So the
Yeah, I know.